Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Eric McLeod here for LowBlowRadio podcast. This is Eric After Dark. I'm going to be reviewing AEW Dark 76 here for you. But before I get to that, I'd like to talk about the matches we got on the AEW Women Eliminator Tournament. We got some more matches from the Japanese side of the bracket, as well as the US side, so I'd like to cover those before I get to the AEW Dark stuff. So on the Japanese side of the bracket, semi-final matchups, we got Yuka Zakazawi defeating Emmy Sakura. Fantastic matchup, big hard-hitting matchup, more of an heel side of Emmy Sakura here we got to see with her sort of trainees helping her quite a bit and then laying the beat down in on Yuka Sakazawa after she was able to pick up the victory. But a really good opening matchup from those two. And yeah, nice to see Yuka going on to the finals of the Japanese side of the bracket. Can't wait to see how well she does continuing on there. God damn it. I gotta start again. Third time in a row. Fourth time in a row. Hey. I can't minimize that. I thought I could. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Eric McLeod here for LowBlowRadio podcast. This is Eric After Dark. I'm just going to give you a quick little review of AEW Dark episode 76. But before I get to that, I'd like to talk about the AEW Women's Eliminator Tournament that's been going on. We got some semifinal matchups from the Japanese side of the bracket, as well as some first round matchups on the US side of the bracket. So I'd like to cover those before I get to the AEW Dark review. So on the Japanese side of the bracket, we had the semifinals matchup between Yuka Sakazawa and Emmy Sakura. Yuka Sakazawa picking up the victory there. Great matchup between these two, seeing a bit more of the heel side of Emmy Sakura, more so than we've seen elsewhere in AEW, but a neat kind of different side of her. Kind of seems like she's building this sort of kingdom around herself, very similar to kind of King Corbin, if you had to relate it to other wrestling tropes going on right now. But yeah, a neat kind of gimmick for her as they were kind of laying the beat down on Yuka, her and her sort of minions afterwards when Yuka picked up the roll-up victory here in a fantastic matchup. Between her and Emmy Sakura there. Yuka moving on to the final, so nice to see how she does there, taking on the winner of the next semifinal matchup, Ryo Mitsunami, taking on Aja Kong in probably the most hard-hitting matchup we've seen in the Japanese side of these bracket matchups so far. By far the bigger hard-hitting Joshis we got to see competing here, and they definitely showed it in this matchup. The younger competitor Ryo really kind of putting it all out and on the line here to defeat Aja Kong. But a great matchup. She's a lot of fun to watch and can't wait to see how she does in the finals against Yuka Sakazawa. We had on the US side of the bracket, Nyla Rose defeating Tai Conte in, would seem like what was going to happen. I thought maybe an upset if this match was going to be on Dynamite. You might see an upset more so for Tai Conte, but the former AEW Women's Champion moving forward in the bracket here, which is understandable with her prowess in the women's division. Nyla Rose putting on a fantastic performance here. And as well, Britt Baker taking on Maddie Rekanowski, who was a last-minute replacement for poor Anna Jay, who had suffered a shoulder injury, is now out of the tournament for could be 6 to 12 months. So that's really unfortunate for Anna Jay. Britt Baker, though, picking up a big victory here and moving on to the semifinals when she takes on Nyla Rose. So I think that'll be a really good matchup. But that about covers the women's Eliminator tournament brackets stuff. I'll cover some more of that. I think they've got something going on Sunday on Bleacher Report, a little bit different for them. Neat that they're kind of having this tournament take place over all kinds of different platforms and stuff like that, using Dynamite and Dark as well as Bleacher here. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how more of this progresses as we get closer and closer to Revolution. But I will jump on over to the AEW Dark review. We had another jam-packed episode of AEW Dark. Just stacked with matchups, so I will just run through the winners here and maybe touch on some of the more memorable moments. But yeah, we opened up with Brian Cage in a very quick victory over John Skyler. Always great to see Brian, in a squash opportunity. Lee Johnson picking up his first singles victory in AEW. We saw him get the victory for the team with him and Cody on Dynamite recently, but nice to see him really getting the kind of role with the push here as he picked up a singles victory over Serpentico. Eddie Kingston picking up a vicious victory over JD Drake. We had a lot of people making their AEW Dark debut here as the enhancement guys, which was pretty cool to see. But yeah, Kingston really putting JD away pretty early on. Layla Hirsch coming back after her loss in the tournament here to look really good against Brooke Havoc, who is a trainee from the Nightmare Factory, as she was brought out by Cody Rhodes to kind of get the pump up. Obviously, as we've known from Brooke, she's in her first kind of few matchups here, but showing a lot of in-ring understanding. So I'd like to see how she progresses. I think Dark is a fantastic place for her to develop that character. Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus taking on Angel Fashion and VSK in another hard-hitting matchup. So hard-hitting matchup from Jurassic Express. You can tell they're trying to give off this more aggressive side of themselves leading into the FTR Tully Blanchard fight that's coming up in about 2 weeks. So yeah, great to see that they're not all just comedy. They can be really, serious and hard-hitting as well. QT Marshall coming out with his trainee Nick Camarado, who's been getting quite a push, getting a win over JJ Grant, who was also making a debut here on AEW. Quick victory for QT Marshall. We haven't seen wrestle too much lately, so nice to see him back in the ring. Max Caster picking up a nice victory once again over Marco Stunt. I'm a big Max Caster and Anthony Bowen's a fan of the Acclaimed, so cool that they can compete in singles competition as well and get kind of the rub here, and getting a big win over Marco. I think will do the same thing it did for Ryan Nemeth too. It's the next step up from just the normal enhancement guys that they bring in on Dark to get a victory over. The Dark Order, Alex Reynolds and John Silver defeated Lewis Valley and Chris Peaks. They worked really well together. I don't think we've seen Lewis Valley and Chris Peaks wrestle together here in AEW on Dark, but they were a great team. I'd like to see some more of that. But of course, Alex Reynolds and John Silver being the dominant team here and picking up the victory. Kip Sabian returning to action as he took on Fuego del Sol. Yeah, he had a minor injury, so he wasn't able to compete in a lot of stuff while the Miro story was in full swing, but nice to see he's able to get back in action. Maybe we will finally get that tag match against some of the best friends there. We had the Varsity Blondes picking up a victory over Sean Dean and Charlie Bravo. Varsity Blondes, nice to see them featured because we know they have the matchup coming up against Team Taz on Dynamite this week as well. So again, I always enjoy when they feature guys on Dark that you're going to see in a different type of situation on Dynamite. And in that same kind of breath, we got Ryan Nemeth picking up a big victory over Aaron Solo. This guy's a lot more fun on Dark than I find he is on Dynamite, and that might just be that they have to tone down his character a little bit unless they're playing into the heel story for him in that scenario. So I can kind of understand that. But he's a lot of fun. I'm really becoming more and more of a Ryan Nemeth fan every day, more and more so. So great to see him picking up another victory here. Ivelisse and Diamante also picking up a victory over Miranda Elise and Renee Michelle. Very dominant for Ivelisse and Diamante once again. Top Flight once again in action as they picked up a victory over Tony Vega and Steve Stefan. Bear Country teaming with Sonny Kiss and Joey Janela once again. This is a dominant quartet foursome here as they picked up a victory over Mbanu, Levi Shapiro, Daniel Joseph, and Aaron Fry. Fantastic 8-man tag, really great action. A lot of debuting talent on the enhancement side here, but they worked really well with the more seasoned vets of Joey Janela that we've got here in AEW as far as the AEW talent goes. Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi picking up another victory over Ryzen and Baron Black. really fun team. Like I had mentioned before, I like a big guy and a little guy team up if they can get the chemistry working well, and it seems like this is working for Peter and Caesar, so I'm all for that and seeing more of it going forward. Kylan King picking up a big victory over Tessa Price as she returned to action here on Dark. We haven't seen her in a little bit, but nice to see her kind of returning. A big presence, someone I would have liked to have maybe seen in the tournament. Actually, I feel like she's put the work in on Dark, and it would have been cool to see her, be elevated to, even just an enhancement person in the tournament, but the shine from that would have been nice to see on Kaylin. But great to see her picking up a victory over Tessa Price regardless. And our main event, which was really, really fun, SCU taking on Matt and Mike Seidel and the Hybrid 2 in a great triple threat tag team matchup. All over the place, and even more kind of risks on the SCU stipulation here that they put on themselves, that if they aren't able to pick up a victory as their team, they were going to be calling it quits as a team. And really tough to think that you're going to end up being the ones outsmarting a fast-paced team like Matt Seidel and the Hybrid 2. So they were able to pick up the victory, though. We are still seeing Christopher Daniels and Frankie Kazarian teaming together as we continue here in AEW. But yeah, again, I like that they're elevating the competition for themselves, really kind of putting their team at risk here as they are pushing more towards the stipulation going down the road. So be curious to see who maybe does end up defeating them and if they do end up breaking up. But I think that about wraps things up for the AEW Dark review, and that wraps things up for Eric After Dark. So thank you for watching here on YouTube. If you want to check out Low Blow Radio, it is on 88.7theriver.ca every Wednesday at 7 p.m. You can check that out on the website, 88.7theriver.ca. Here on YouTube, thank you for watching. You can like, share, and subscribe these videos for when new ones come out. Give them a like, helps us grow the channel. Get in the comments, let us know what you thought about AEW After Dark, and we'll be back with more reviews here on Low Blow Radio Podcast.